Good morning, my name is John Gannon, and today I'm going to be working on this photo that you see in front of you. This was taken in December on a trip to Yosemite. As you can see, it was a mildly overcast day, but I actually really liked the way the clouds danced at the peaks. It just sort of produced this really cool effect, and you can really see some amazing sights there. I mean, I probably took 1,000 photos, and this one right here was actually one of my favorite ones. So today I'm going to show you how I work through the process. My intent of this video is not to have a step-by-step tutorial. I'm not going to explain things in detail. If you're looking for a beginner's guide to processing or an advanced guide to processing, this is really not the video for you. What I will say though is that it'll give you an insight into how I work through videos, excuse me, as I work through photos themselves. It's more or less just for fun. Now I do have a video that is a beginner's guide if you want to flip through my videos. You will see that somewhere in there. Maybe I can provide a link to that if you need it. But as you can see, this is a completely raw file. I'm working within Lightroom, as you may already know. The point of this video really is just simply for me to not be bored this morning. So we'll go ahead and get started. Now the photo itself is taken pretty well. You can see there are some blasted highlights. I can adjust that simply by sliding on that if I wanted to. And you can see the results in here. So essentially it says, hey, you want to reduce your whites. That would fix that. Well, you know, we'll see whether we do or don't as we work through this. But for a photo like this, I do want to reduce the highlights. Though. As you can see, it brings in a lot more of the details up there. The intent of this photo was, in fact, to lose the mountains and the clouds. So I did expose a little differently than I would have otherwise. And you can see that it did more or less fix the histogram to some degree. We may or may not want to increase the shadows. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if it needs it or not. Adjusting the whites is pretty standard for me. You can see some, yeah, you're not actually blasting it up until 25 or so. And of course decreasing the blacks. It looks like we have no issues until we get down pretty low. I haven't been adjusting the blacks lately, to be honest with you. I've been going more for the standard look. It's almost straight out of the camera as I can get it. I do really reduce the highlights, but there's something about it I just really like. In terms of the white balance, in this particular one, we do have some true white in there. Maybe we can give it a shot. It looks pretty decent to me, but yeah, there you go. It could stand to be a little warmer. But we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I may go with a little increase in the shadows just to bring it out just a bit more. All in all, not too bad on the detail there. There's really not any major issues with focus that I can tell so far. It looks like our scene more or less is in focus. That doesn't appear to be too bad of a camera shake issue. The noise isn't an issue. It's ISO 200, so I thought there would be. And I handheld the shot, so I was expecting there to be more problems with it. But, frankly, I am pretty happy with how this particular photo turned out. So, great. We can see what vibrance does for us by simply sliding it left and right. Now, of course, a lot of people do go with the black and white in Yosemite, but honestly, I just didn't think that's necessary. The scene itself is already a muted scene because of the wintry subject, but I felt that the color just really was almost necessary. I like bringing the greens out just a little bit and browns and everything, so I might actually enhance it a bit more in terms of the warmth. I mean, it's a winter day, but who says it needs to be, right? So we're not going to slide that too much, but maybe just a little bit. Exposure is a little bright on this one, so I'm going to bring it down just a bit. Now, as I said, I'm not really explaining too much here. A lot of what you're experiencing right now as you're watching me is essentially my feeling. I want to feel what the photo is going to do for me. It's got to talk to me still. And I haven't really seen anything. Now, I do want to bring a little bit of sharpness in there as well as luminance. Now, for ISO 200, my standard is going to be 7520. It's just what I've found produces the best for my particular camera. For yours, it may or may not. As you can see, it actually did in my particular case. Once again, like I said, it's a go-to. It's pretty tried and true. It improved it pretty dramatically. Now, as I said, I do like getting a little bit of the colors So I do want to bring them out just a tad bit, but not too much. You don't want this to look too fake. You can click on this little button right here. It's pretty awesome. You can bring it out and just simply increase or decrease as necessary. In this particular case, I don't want to go up too much. I'm probably just going to go 1510, something to that effect. More or less, I'm just accenting the photo in that particular regard. You know, and I almost feel like the photo's pretty much done at this point. But that's the funny thing about this, is as you go through these photos, you start to realize that there's really not much you need to do to them if you take them right. Sometimes you can get more out of it, sometimes you can't. I actually like that. I like how the face comes up just a bit. Maybe bring a little bit of color out there. It may or may not be necessary. No, I could be wrong, but it does look like there's a little bit of light coming through right there. So maybe we bring that out just a little bit. The adjustment brush is actually a pretty good method for doing this. One of the techniques that I use is I'll drop it down, your exposure, tremendously. So when you are applying the brush itself, you can basically see exactly what you're lighting, what you're affecting immediately. So this doesn't show you the results, but you should already know what you're doing in that particular regard. Now, in this particular case, that's the area that I want to light. I actually like the way it lit, but the particular fashion of being lit just maybe simply increasing the highlights just a little bit and adding a bit more color to it. Obviously, that's too much, but I think just a little bit in there might actually be nice. Maybe a little bit of whites. You know, I actually kind of like that. I think we're going to replicate that right across the face here. Just to bring it out just a bit. The whole day was an interesting day. There were points where the sun was breaking out and where the sun wasn't. So some of the photos that I've already processed from the day were titled sun-kissed and stuff like that. It was an interesting day. Even though it looks like it's the dead of winter, it really wasn't. And it was, I mean, in terms of the month and the day, but there was still quite a bit of sun. I actually like that. I like how the color came out a bit. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like it's not really balanced properly. I feel like that actually might be a little better. Yeah, that actually did. I'm also going to bring this up just a bit. Maybe not the tree. No, I think that's actually not bad. Make sure I'm, of course, at my my brightest point, but I mean, depending on how bad you want to go. I mean, I like going for more natural, obviously, and here I am doing adjustment brushes, but I really do like to go for more natural colors lately. I think this is actually looking pretty decent, but I do feel it's a little dull. Yeah. We'll try something else. Instead of that, let's bring that back down. It's just too much for this one. So I think that was actually pretty decent. I think what's bothering me about this photo is simply this ridge right here. As I'm looking at it, I'm feeling really, there's kind of a draw here. I didn't give myself the right balance. The subject's off center, but it's still more or less center. So if I could just bring this in just a bit. But that is going to be something that would have needed to happen in camera. Now, one of the options I have, of course, is to copy settings, with the exception of the local adjustments, obviously, because we're not going to want to do that, and simply go on to the next photo. Maybe something different from the same scene. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really get any good shots of that particular ridge line, did I? Well, perhaps the next time I go, I'll take a better photo. In the meantime, hold on, I'm pretty happy with that. A little muted. Bring out the brights just a bit. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just pretty much the photo right there. I don't really want to mess with it too much more. I mean, maybe we can do a little more with the highlights here. I do actually like that. Just a little bit more there. So it's not so muted at the top of the frame. Kill that. Kill that just a bit. No, I liked it. Give saturation a shot. Yeah, not bad. Just brings out a little bit more color. All in all, I'm pretty happy with what we've got here. I don't see anything that's too dramatic. Actually, I mean, truthfully, everything looks fairly perfect. There might be a little smudge here and there. But all in all, you know what? Not bad. I may try the, this might work with me. Let's see what we can do here. All right. Well, that pretty much concludes the video. I think that more or less what I'm looking to accomplish with this photo is what you see in front of you there. I don't even think I want to rotate it. I think that I had the idea pretty well. set in camera. As I said, it was a handheld shot. You know, I actually like it. I'm pretty happy with it all in all. Well, I hope this video helped you to some degree. I hope that you enjoyed listening to me stumble through a development process. That's essentially what you get with me, though, is more feeling than thinking. I like to feel my way through photos. I don't like to think my way through photos. I can think that dropping the highlights down will produce a particular result, but until you see it, it will not actually give you the results that you want. You have to feel it. You have to really see what everything's going to do. And as I tell everybody, just play with your photos. Just get out there and just start sliding sliders. Just feel what it's going to do. I personally have developed thousands of photos. I think I've got 60,000 photos sitting around here. So when it comes to the highlights and the shadows and the whites and the blacks, I have a pretty decent idea how it's going to look on the camera. That just simply came with experience, just time. I wasn't taught or anything like that. You just feel it. You just see what it's going to do. The end result for me is my desired effect. What you see in front of you here. For you, it may be something entirely different. Until you get out there and process it, though, you'll never really know. So even if you don't know what you're doing in Lightroom, just do what I did. Feel it out. See what it's going to do. You may find that your particular result is better or worse than mine. For example, sliding the clarity slider up, as you can see here, does some pretty crazy things to a scene. So you may like that. I personally don't, but you may like it sliding it down this way a little more. I personally don't, but that's the difference in the stylistic choices that we make. So I hope you enjoy this video to some degree, and have a great day.